Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the very eastern part of Morganton, North Carolina, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here that has joined us on this program tonight. Folks, we're going to be getting into earthquakes, all kinds of earthquakes, and we're going to be talking about some other things as well. Please, right now though, please join us for the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, appearing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance. We want to thank all of our wonderful men and women in the armed forces, wherever they might be right now, deployed or in the United States. I want to also thank all of our allied men and women in their armed forces. May you all return home safely after your tours of duty end. God bless you and thank you for your service. We definitely appreciate it. God bless you all. Folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We have a ton of things to talk about tonight. First, I'm going to talk about an event that just happened. This just happened. I want to give myself just a second here and pull up an image that I was not able to pull up on the software until just now. We've had a 5.5 magnitude earthquake hit in California today, just minutes before we came on the air. Actually, just as we came on the air. Okay? This is at least a 5.5 magnitude earthquake. While I've been monitoring the chat since we've come on the air, we have some people saying it's a 5.7, a 5.6. It has been downgraded now officially to a 5.4. That's as much as I can say on this right now. It just barely happened. Before I go any further, look and see exactly where this thing happened. Okay? Look at that pointer right there. From that ball, orange ball, pointing into the ground there. East Shore, California. Go over to the left, just off the coast. What is that? That is the Gorda Escarpment. The Gorda Escarpment. This is east of the Mendocino Ridge. This is east of the Mendocino Ridge. Notice where the Sierra Nevada mountains are. This is just barely east of the Sierra Nevada mountains. But look at this. It's almost a straight line from this earthquake to the Gorda Escarpment. The Gorda Escarpment is the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. The Cascadia subduction zone, guys, where the Cascadia subduction zone meets with the Gorda Escarpment and the San Andreas Fault at the Triple Junction. This is almost a direct straight line from this earthquake over to the Gorda Escarpment. Now, I'm not going to make any other comparisons right now about this quake. If it stands up even as a 5.4 magnitude earthquake, this is a very dangerous and it can be a very deadly earthquake. I'm not going to mince words, guys. This earthquake is a large earthquake, possibly even pending a very large earthquake. Anything 5.5 and above to 5.9 is considered to be a very large earthquake. I've seen 5.5 to 5.6 earthquakes devastate a region, devastate entire towns. This is a powerful earthquake to hit California this evening. Our prayers are with the people of California now as they deal with this earthquake. We will have emergency management personnel on scene almost immediately. We're going to see emergency first responders, police, sheriffs, fire, and other first responders responding to this scene. Okay? As we get more information, we will update you as soon as we possibly can as the information becomes available. But a 5.5 to 5.6 magnitude earthquake has hit just after 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will see what we see. Okay? They say this hit 4 hours ago. No, it didn't. I put this literally on the air moments after I got it, and as soon as I got it, they said it was a minute before. 4 hours, this picture says no. This just happened. Okay? So guys, as we get more information about this earthquake, we will let you know more about it. Now, there's something else going on that I want to talk about. Okay? I possibly should have mentioned this as early as Saturday night when I first became aware of it. The United States House of Representatives today took up a bill called H.R. 42. Excuse me, not 42. Boy, I've got things screwed up. H.R. 2. H.R. 2. House of Representatives Bill 2. Okay? This has to do with immigration. Ongoing immigration into this country. Now, I'm going to let this play. Okay? This is about the middle of the press conference today that Congressman McCarthy brought in all of his members of his committees to explain what happened today in the House of Representatives. Now, what I need to tell you, this is just a congressional bill. It has to come from Congress to the Senate of the United States. This bill passed. This bill passed on a 219 to 211 basis. 219 conservatives voted for it, and 211 Democrats voted against it. It was very much a party line bill. Let me let the let me let the congressman tell you about it.
Mejora nuestro sistema de asilo y, muy importante, restablece el Estado de Derecho, que es la razón por la cual todo inmigrante que lleva generaciones o que está tratando de llegar ahora viene a este país.
Let me back this up because he's speaking Spanish. Explain what he has said previously.
Americans dying every single day due to fentanyl, mostly coming from the southern border, is safe. Frankly, one would have to be severely out of touch with reality to relinquish control of the southern border to those narco-terrorist cartels that are now the ones who determine who comes in to the southern border. And one would have to be really callous to say that the death of 900 migrants and nearly 90,000 children, minors, lost and trafficked is humane. That's not humane. That's insane. Since the Biden administration and, frankly, the Democrats, since they've totally abdicated their responsibility to uphold our national security and protect the American people, I am so proud that the House Republicans, once again, have stepped up. H.R. 2 secures the borders. It provides much needed support to our brave heroes, the men and women, the officers of the CBP. It protects children, those exploited children that even the New York Times has stated are being exploited. It protects them from exploitation and human trafficking. It defunds the narco-terrorist, multi-billion-dollar cartels that are now the ones who decide who comes in through the southern border and who are running the southern border. It streamlines our broken asylum system that is hurting so many, including those who have legitimate claims for asylum. And I'm so proud, it reestablishes the rule of law. The rule of law. I am so proud of this Republican conference. En la carta oficial que el presidente sacó hoy, esta semana, en su oposición a esta ley, el presidente de la administración dice que la situación en la frontera está segura, organizada y humana. Eso lo puso por escrito la administración. O sea, francamente hay que estar severamente desconectado de la realidad para decir que los casi 300 norteamericanos, jóvenes, que mueren todos los días, eso es porque hay una frontera segura, organizada y humana. Que la muerte de los 900 inmigrantes, el número más grande de la historia de los Estados Unidos, que fallecieron el año pasado, este año, y 90,000 niños que están siendo abusados y traficados. Eso es seguro, organizado y humano. Y cederle el control de la frontera sur a los narcocarteles, que son los que deciden ahora quién entra y quién sale y por qué precio. Que de alguna forma eso es seguro, organizado y humano. No. Esta ley sí es humana. Desafortunadamente el presidente y los demócratas rehusan defender la seguridad nacional de los Estados Unidos y proteger al pueblo norteamericano. Y por eso estoy tan orgulloso que hoy los republicanos de la Cámara tomaron acción seria y positiva. Esta ley fortalece la seguridad de nuestra frontera. Brinda apoyo necesario a nuestros agentes oficiales en la frontera. protege a los niños, a las niñas, a las mujeres que están siendo abusadas en este proceso. Mejora nuestro sistema de asilo y, muy importante, restablece el Estado de Derecho, que es la razón por la cual todo inmigrante que lleva generaciones o que está tratando de llegar ahora viene a este país. Restablece el Estado de Derecho. It is my privilege to introduce a man who, if anybody has any doubt, the definition of a workhorse, of a man who is keen and smart and never stops working. What a privilege it is to introduce my colleague, Mr. McClintock.
Thank you. You know, we tried to do this a few years ago with a much larger majority and we failed. The difference this time was the Republican leadership, starting with Speaker Kevin McCarthy and, of course, Chairman Jim Jordan and the rest of the team that wouldn't take no for an answer, that kept everybody talking, kept everybody together, ultimately to reach a common conclusion to pass this historic legislation with a much slender majority. You know, our borders were secure on Inauguration Day. The Remain in Mexico policy had slowed illegal immigration to a trickle. The border wall was nearing completion. ICE was actually enforcing court-ordered deportations. And yet that very afternoon, Joe Biden reversed all of these policies and initiated the largest illegal mass migration in history. And you know, I've never understood how our schools are made better by packing classrooms with non-English speaking students, or how our hospitals are made more accessible by flooding our emergency rooms with illegals demanding uncompensated care, or how our communities are made safer by introducing criminal cartels and flooding them with fentanyl, or how working families are helped by flooding the labor market with cheap illegal labor, or how our social safety net is strengthened by adding millions of impoverished dependent aliens to it. This measure restores the policies that secured our border and makes it harder for future presidents to refuse to enforce the law. You know, without enforcing our immigration laws, we have no borders. And if we have no borders, we have no country. History warns us that countries that either cannot or will not secure their borders simply aren't around very long. Now the Senate needs to act. And if it doesn't, then ultimately the American people need to decide how far down this road they want to continue, because this will continue until the people responsible for these policies are removed from office. And I thank all of you, and I'm very pleased to introduce Representative Juan Ciscomani of Arizona's 6th District, who did yeoman work in keeping the sides together and bringing us together. So thank you.
I stand here today as a proud product of the American dream. I became a United States citizen in 2006, and today, 17 years later, I can stand before you as a member of the United States Congress. I also stand here as a representative of southeastern Arizona. What's happening at the border is not part of the American dream my family pursued, and thousands of other families also continue to pursue today. We've seen babies abandoned in rivers, migrants dying in deserts, high-speed car chases through neighborhoods, and 85,000 children disappeared after being released from HHS custody. We have a border crisis, a humanitarian crisis, and on the front lines are our border communities. Americans have been failed by the government designed to protect them. While our country suffers because of this administration's inaction, House Republicans have passed a solution. H.R. 2 gives our agents and officers the resources they desperately need, closes loopholes in an abused asylum system, and it protects innocent children from harm. This last part was very important to me from the get-go. I'm a dad of 6. My kids' ages range from 4 to 14. I can't help it but look at these kids and think of my own kids, and think of when my family brought me here as a young boy as well, and what I was thinking and what I was going through. This bill is a step away from the chaos we are seeing and a step closer to helping others achieve the American dream that I've been so blessed to live. Estoy aquí como un orgulloso producto del sueño americano. Me convertí en ciudadano americano en el 2006 y hoy, 17 años después, estoy aquí frente a ustedes como miembro del Congreso de Estados Unidos. También estoy aquí como representante del sureste de Arizona. Lo que está ocurriendo en la frontera no es parte del sueño americano. Para mi familia no es parte del sueño americano que mi familia vino a buscar y que otras miles de familias también están viniendo a buscar. Hemos visto bebés abandonados en ríos, inmigrantes que mueren en el desierto y persecuciones de autos por vecindarios. Y 85,000 menores de edad han desaparecido después de haber sido liberados de la custodia del Departamento de Salud y Servicios Humanos de Estados Unidos. Tenemos una crisis en la frontera, tenemos una crisis humanitaria y las líneas de fuego son nuestras comunidades de la frontera. El gobierno le ha fallado a los estadounidenses en vez de protegerlos. Mientras nuestro país sufre por la falta de acción de esta administración, los republicanos de la Cámara de Representantes hemos pasado una solución. La ley HR2 brinda a nuestros agentes y oficiales los recursos necesarios que desesperadamente necesitan. También cierra los hoyos del sistema de asilo que han estropeado y protegen muy bien a los niños inocentes de cualquier edad. Este proyecto de ley es un paso fuera del caos que estamos viviendo y es un paso más cerca hacia ayudar a alcanzar a todos los demás el sueño americano que yo he tenido la oportunidad de vivir. Muchas gracias. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce one of the leaders that have made this possible, and that is Chairman Mike McCall. Sir?
Okay, we're not going to hear from Mike McCall today. However, I wanted to play this for you. Yes, there was a translation of both those two congressmen into Spanish, and I appreciate that. A large group of people that we have here on this channel are Spanish speaking, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to keep the chat English. Okay? Please keep the chat English. Okay? But I want you to hear this. There's a reason. Title 42 can straighten out our border situation. Title 42 can straighten it out. But this bill must go before the Senate. The Senate is run by the Democrat Communist Party here in the United States. It's highly unlikely this bill will gain any kind of traction in the Senate. And if it does, it might even get watered down to an extent that it will not do anything for this country and for the citizens of this country. So folks, what I'm going to ask you to do now, starting later tonight, going into tomorrow, and continuing through next week, I need you all to get on your phones and call your senators. Call your senators in Washington, D.C. Call the Washington, D.C. switchboard. I know some of our mods may have that number. Mods, if you look it up, please put that switchboard number up in the chat. So, and I'll put it out as well. But I want everybody to call the Washington, D.C. switchboard, and I want you all to ask to speak with your senator from your area, the senator that represents you. They will even ask you if that senator represents you. If they don't, they won't even talk to you. They won't even let a representative of their senatorial team talk to you. That's why it's so important that you call the DC switchboard and ask for the senator that's responsible for you. And if the senator is not available, tell them in the utmost terse terms that you want your senator to vote, and take up H.R. 2 from the House bill and get it passed. Get it passed so that we can secure the United States border. This is what we must do. Now, Title 42 ends at 11:54 p.m. tonight. That's another problem. This is a huge problem. Okay? First, I want to go and show you a picture of a Board of Supervisors member in the county of San Diego. Why am I doing this? Because, folks, this is urgent. This is very, very urgent. And I'm going to tell you why here. Okay? Again, Title 42 is set to expire at 11:54 p.m. tonight. The pandemic era policy immediately expels migrants without providing asylum hearings. That expires tonight. Title 8, the immigration law in place before the pandemic, will replace Title 42. With this, migrants will be allowed once again to apply for legal pathways to enter the United States. This County Board of Supervisors that you see on your screen right now, his name is Joel Anderson. If you live in San Diego, you need to call his office and thank him for trying to help you in San Diego. With Title 42 restrictions lifting tonight, San Diego's migrant shelters are expected to hit capacity within a very short time. That's why Board of Supervisors Anderson is advocating for the deployment of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, to San Diego. He said we need more resources to avoid federally sponsored homelessness of asylum seekers in San Diego, and that goes for around this country. Title 42 was put in place in March 2020 by the Trump administration during the height of the pandemic. The public order, which expires tonight, 10:59 p.m. Central Time, restricted migrants from claiming asylum at the border. Texas Governor Greg Abbott stated that the Biden administration estimates 13,000 people will come across the border daily after Title 42 expires. There are 750,000 people at the border now waiting to just cross. They're going to basically invade the United States just before midnight tonight. Now, with that said, there's a lot more to this story than that. Okay? I showed you yesterday and the day before yesterday, we have the United States Army and Marine Corps. We have the United States National Guard on scene in Arizona and Texas, putting up barbed wire to try to stem some of this unlawful immigration. The city of Brownsville, Texas, announced that it is prepared and organized to handle the influx of migrants by enacting enhanced measures. These measures will help maintain safety in the community and ensure that a migrant influx is handled humanely. The city is doing that, okay, and a lot more. Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino Jr. signed a disaster declaration in response to an immediate threat of widespread or severe damage, injury, or loss of life or property resulting from the border security disaster. The declaration will go into effect immediately. Hidalgo County, Texas Judge F. Cortez issued a disaster declaration today after receiving information from federal officials that large groups of migrants are near the border and could potentially surge the border upon the expiration of Title 42. The disaster declaration will go into effect immediately, and it'll last for 7 days. It will last for 7 days. Now, with that said, this is the Border Patrol Sector Headquarters in Hidalgo, Texas. Angel Dulles Park in Mission is now closed to the public. McAllen Mayor Javier Villalobos says they have set up a temporary facility with a capacity of 2,000 people. Migrants will continue to arrive at the intersection of 14th and Washington Streets at the bus station in downtown Brownsville, Texas. The border surge is on. Let there be no mistake about what's going on. Many of the migrants are waiting to reunite with family members who are still in the processing centers. The majority of them seem to be Venezuelan, between the age of 26 to 32. Members of the Team Brownsville, a community volunteer organization, are nearby providing assistance by offering toiletries and snacks. That's what the city of Brownsville has done. I am certain that there are other counties, and I'm certain there are other people also providing humanitarian service to the immigrants that will be pressing in to the United States tonight. Now, given that, the Border Patrol is calling in all off-duty personnel. The police departments, the county sheriffs, are also calling all off-duty personnel in tonight to establish a front to try to stem the unlawful migration into the United States by people just pouring over the border and not even waiting to be processed. We also have at least 1,500 National Guard troops on the border, as well as other National Guard troops in Texas, specifically put in there by Governor Abbott to stop the flow of unlawful migrants. Okay? Biden said those 1,500 National Guard troops that he's ordered into the border areas are there to help process people. But Northern Command General said the other day, they will not, I repeat, the general said the other day, his 1,500 troops will not help with processing of anyone, but they will help to stem the unlawful crossing of the United States border. That is in accordance with also what Governor Abbott has said about the troops stationed in Texas. They are there to prevent the onslaught of people just running across the border thinking that they can just walk through and nothing will happen. Okay? I fully expect those Border Patrol agents, I fully expect the police, and I fully expect the National Guard troops to stop it, or at least try to stop the unlawful flow of migrants across the border tonight into tomorrow. Like I said, as more information becomes available, we will provide it to you as soon as we have that information. But right now, police departments all over Arizona, Texas, and California are putting in firm roots there at the border to try to stem the unlawful migration of people through their areas. That's what's going on. Now, going back to the earthquake that hit yesterday, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit off the coast about 46 miles west of Hihifotonga. A 7.6 magnitude quake yesterday morning. Now, I told you that we would keep you informed as to what happened there. Okay? It's big. It's very big. This is one of the heliplots that I picked up today. It's the same place that I picked it up from yesterday. This is from Massachusetts. Okay? You notice the VLF waves here. You see these big VLF waves? This is what happened from yesterday. From yesterday. They continued on into today. That 7.6 magnitude earthquake was a lot stronger than a 7.6. Now, I remember yesterday I showed you the heliplots, showing you what I saw with multiple 7s, 6s, and even 5s happening, shaking the earth around Tonga. They're still shaking. You'll notice the wave here on each line. Each line here represents a 1 hour time period. The shaking is still continuing right now. I pulled this helioplot about an hour before I came on the air. Look closely, you still see some shaking going on. And this is after approximately 36 hours after the quake happened. Okay? I believe this earthquake to be probably closer to an 8.0. Closer to an 8.0. Last night, at just about midnight, I looked at it, and there were 13 hours of shaking going on then. Look at it now. It's continuing. It's continuing. That seismic activity that you see here on your screen that shows some dark wavy lines and some hash marks, that's seismic activity, but it has nothing to do with the Tongan quake. That has to do with other 5.0 and other quakes happening around the globe. But you can see these wavy lines, each line representing 1 hour of time period today. Folks, that's an awful lot of shaking that's still ongoing after the 7.6 earthquake hit in Tonga. Like I said, I believe this earthquake was at least an 8.0. An 8.0. As this night goes on, I will keep a very close eye on this earthquake. This may have been a lot larger than what they're saying. Actually, I know it's a lot larger than what they're saying, but we will have to come to some grips pretty soon after we see the shaking finally end. But now, 36 hours after the event, it's still shaking now. Okay? I wanted to make sure that you saw this. I believe it's very important. Very important. We've had other large earthquakes that have happened, including over off the coast of Northern California just a few months ago. Off the coast of Ferndale, California. That earthquake was not a 6.8. That earthquake was an 8.0. Much like I think this one is here. And it may turn out that this earthquake is more than an 8.0. But I will let you know about it. Now, I'm sorry I'm drinking water in front of you. I have an air thing on right here. It's called a nasal cannula. I have, most of you know who I am and what I've been through over the last, say, even 10 or 11 years. But I have a diaphragm on my right side, right down here, right below my lung, that is supposed to be working to help put air into my lung and take air out of my lung, but it's not working, it's paralyzed. That's why I have on air. Because of this air, my mouth and my throat become very irritated sometimes, or dry, and I have to have water. That's why I have water on this set here. So if you guys just forgive me about that, we'll keep on moving here. But I wanted you to know what's going on. Now, do you guys have any questions about either HR 2 or the Title 42 that ends at midnight tonight? I'll be happy to take some questions right now. Then we'll get on with Cascadia. We'll move forward with Cascadia information. Any questions? I see JB Maps is here. One of my mods, Diana, is here. Dawn Patoka is here. We really appreciate that. Rob is here. My buddy Sage Pup is also here. Sage Pup has become a very dear friend of mine, as well as the others here. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. We have the best mods in the business. Okay. Cowboy Roy Rogers says a tornado warning for Grady County, Oklahoma is on right now, heading towards Oklahoma City. Anybody within that range of that tornado warning, you need to take cover now. Please take cover now. Either go into your tornado shelter below ground or get into the center of your house and pull a mattress over the top of you. Stay away from windows. Stay completely away from windows. And stay low. Garrison Tellis says we care in Alamogordo, New Mexico. I totally understand that. Don Patoka says there is no political solution to a spiritual need, and he's right. This is very much a spiritual problem that the government has never taken care of. Okay? The government hasn't taken care of it, and there's none. Now, my buddy Cowboy Roy Rogers says number 75 have no audio. I'm sorry about that. I'm showing audio here. Let me check something. I'm showing audio here. I'm showing audio here. Yes, we do have audio going out. I just checked my monitor. We have audio going out. That's great. Ken Zoe says 10-4. Awesome. Crashing Adam says, I really find your channel a blessing. I thank you for all your hard work, my brother. Thank you so much as well. I appreciate all of you being here and sharing this information. I feel it's absolutely necessary that we get this out to as many people as possible. And when you share it with your families and extended families, your neighbors and friends, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with, that takes it even a step further. We greatly appreciate all you do. Also, we have 79 thumbs up right now. If you feel what we're doing is a service to you, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure you stay here for at least most of this program, if not all of it, because if you miss out on any portion of this program, then you're not getting the information you need to get through emergencies. And what we talk about are emergencies and disasters. Okay? What's going on in Washington is an emergency. What's going on at our borders are emergencies. That 5.5 plus earthquake, that 5.5 magnitude plus earthquake, that is actually an emergency over in Northern California today. Okay? That 5.5 is a very strong earthquake. It might not be a 6, but it's a mid-range 5, which makes it very deadly, very disastrous. Wolfman says, watering my garden. I'm going to finish planting my garden either tonight or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Michael McKinney's Hollywood, California. That's awesome. Okay, things are they're not dull in California. Things are very active in California. Like I said, I'm still firmly planted in the idea that Southern California is going to get nailed with a 7.0 plus major quake. possibly at the border region or further north. And that earthquake's going to affect San Diego, Imperial County, San Bernardino County, Orange County, Los Angeles County, and even possibly points north. Everybody needs to get poised for a major earthquake happening. It's coming. It's coming. Kimberly Hopkins says they're still hitting. Oh yes, absolutely they're still hitting. It's not over. JB Map says this surely is a very scary situation. The Bible states it would happen in the end times, and it is. We are all here, folks. Only Christ can fix all these planetary happenings. Truly exciting times. And you're right, JB. You're absolutely right. It is exciting times. It is a very exciting time to be living. And I'm grateful to be here with you. I'm very grateful to be here. If I could be anywhere else, I wouldn't want to be there. I truly believe that what we're experiencing now is what we want to be going through. Whether we have to face earthquakes or whatever it is, I think we've been prepared to be strong and be able to get through it. That's why we talk about it on this program. I think we can get through it. Okay? I know we can. If we prepare, we shall not fear. That's what the scriptures teach us. Okay? Okay, let's talk about Cascadia now. Before I get into that, again, a 5.5, possibly larger earthquake than that, has hit up in Northern California, 300 miles east from the ocean. 300 miles east from the ocean. Okay? We will get more information. As that information filters into it, we will let you know what's going on. Okay? We'll definitely let you know what's going on. Now, before I get into the exact discussion of the Cascadia earthquakes, I want to talk to you about some tremors. Tremors that continue to hit in the Pacific Northwest. The reason I'm doing that, I feel that the agency that has been providing tremor information has been lying about it. Completely up and up, out and out lying to us. Okay? For example, I want to show you this. Okay? 19 tremors yesterday. 19 tremors northwest of Medford, Oregon, hit yesterday. I call that BS. I call this information BS, and there's a reason why. Let me show you some seismograms. Let me show you some seismograms in and around Washington and Oregon. There are a lot more tremors and earthquakes all over the Pacific Northwest that they are not telling us about. There's a lot more tremors and earthquakes in Oregon and Washington than they want us to know about. They're showing 19. Let me show you this. This is Edison Elementary School in Washington State. Now, let me reduce this in size a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm seeing. This is a bit large, okay? It's a bit large because I showed you that tremor map, okay? I showed you that tremor map. But folks, this is an issue, and we need to tackle this issue. Again, this is Edison School Okay? You don't see much happening at the very top of this seismogram. The top of this seismogram is 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Okay? Look at it. I see a minimum of 8 tremors right here at the top. 8 tremors. But look what happened this afternoon. Late this morning and this afternoon. Look what happened here. Okay? We see earthquakes here. Over on the left side this afternoon. Or excuse me, this morning. Just after 8 a.m. on the black line. There's at least a 2.0 earthquake there. Going further to the right, and this is approximately, I want to say, about 8:08 or 8:09 a.m. this morning, we have another one. This one looks to be a 2.1, 2.2 earthquake. And after that, we have possibly a 1.7 tremor. And after that, this is another 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. Then we have a bunch of tremors here, don't we? They haven't figured this in as well. They have not figured any of this into their tremor map. They won't either. Okay? Now I have these lined up. I want to show you. Yes, this information is today. But quite honestly, folks, this happens every day. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network that puts out that map. They are purposely not showing you information. Okay? This is Friday Harbor in Washington. I'm sorry. Yeah, Friday Harbor in Washington. Look at the tremors and earthquakes on this seismogram. Okay? There's a lot more than 19 tremors on this seismogram alone. Okay, look at the top part of it. The top part of it was last night, from 5 until midnight. How many tremors do we have? Let's count them. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 just at the very top. Okay, that would figure into what we have there. But the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network said it was over just northwest of Medford. Okay, this is in Washington. They're not figuring this in. They're not giving us true information. Okay, look at the bottom of this seismogram. Again, there's probably close to 60 or 70 tremors and earthquakes here that they're not telling us about. I want to say, why not? Or should I say, I want to ask them, why not? Let's look further north in Washington. This happens to be Guaymas Island, Washington. Guermes. Or Guaymas, Washington. Okay, look at this one. Look at all these tremors here. Okay, look at all that. That's a ton of activity. Guaymas Island, Washington. Let's look at Lopez Island. Johns Point, Lopez Island, Washington. Look at the tremors here. Look at those little tiny tremors. Yes, they're not counting those either. Probably 0.2, 0.3 tremors. Microquakes. Let's look at Labam, Washington. This is Labam, Washington. Look at all these tremors here. Do you understand what I'm talking about? They're not giving us the correct information. This is Loomy Island, Washington. Look at the tremors here. Yes, there are a few earthquakes here as well. Let's take a look at Orcas Island. Olga Orcas Island. Look at this. Yes, we have tremors here, but we also have quite a few earthquakes. The earthquakes up on that blue line there in the center, that's at least a 2.7, 2.8 magnitude earthquake. Minor earthquake, but still an earthquake. Look down below that, over on the left-hand side in red. That is also a 2.7, 2.8, maybe a 2.9 magnitude earthquake. On the blue line to the right, that is at least a 2.0 magnitude earthquake. So we have at least 3 earthquakes here and the rest tremors. Okay? This is Orcas Island. Let's go take a look at Pacific County, Washington. Pacific County, Washington. Look at all these tremors here. Look at all those tremors. And yet they're trying to tell us that there are very few tremors around. Really? I'm showing a lot of tremors here. A lot more than 19. Let's continue on. I want to show you now Pacific Rim. Pacific County, Washington. Look at this. A lot of tremors here as well. Let's go over to Nassau, Washington. Radar Ridge. Look at this, guys. Every one of these are tremors. Every one of them are tremors. How about Roach Harbor Airport, San Juan Island? Roach Park Airport, San Juan Island. Look at that. Yes, we have some earthquakes up here on that black line on the right-hand side. Black line center. They have like 3 earthquakes there, the rest are tremors. That's an awful lot of seismic energy, isn't it? Certainly there's more than 19. How about, excuse me, how about Cedar Woolley, Washington. Cedar Woolley, Washington. Look at that, guys. I believe every one of these seismic events here are tremors. All of them, including those long duration tremors up at the top. Every one of them. There are hundreds of earthquakes and tremors in Washington and Oregon today. This one is in Skagit Valley. Skagit Valley. Look at that. There are no earthquakes on this seismograph. There's tons of tremors. Tons and tons of tremors. Okay? Tons and tons of tremors. Let's look at a couple more. The next one I'm going to take you is the Tioga Law Enforcement Post in Washington. Okay? This is called Tioga. Tioga. The law enforcement post here has everything to do with fish and game. But look what we have on this seismograph. These are all tremors except for maybe one. And yes, it might be a tremor as well. It looks to me like a 1.6 tremor, but it could be bigger than that. Okay? All these seismograms are taken from the Pacific Northwest site. Okay? Look at this. This one, folks, is the Willapa Harbor Golf Course. The Willapa Harbor Golf Course. Guess how many tremors are here? 38 tremors and earthquakes on this seismogram alone. 38 tremors and earthquakes here. I hope that the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network shows hundreds and hundreds of tremors on its tremor map. You know something? I'm going to take a look at it, just for kicks and giggles. Because, guess what? Inquiring minds want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. So I'm going over to the tremor map. Hopefully, they will have posted a new tremor map for today. Well, guess what, folks? They have. And it shows absolutely zero tremors. It shows absolutely zero tremors from Vancouver Island south. Okay, I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to show you so you know what I'm talking about. Okay? This is really stupid. It's honestly very stupid on their part. Okay? Okay, let me bring this up. I think you might be blown away by this. You're kidding me. Are they not letting us get it? Hold on a second. Okay, let me try to pull this up again. I hope I get it right. Here it is. Look at that, guys. Absolutely no tremors at all today. I just got through showing you hundreds of tremors. Hundreds of tremors that they refuse to show us. That's insane. This is literally insane. Why are they not being honest with us? Why are they not showing us information? I just got through showing you hundreds of tremors, yet they show us none. There are plenty of slow slip tremors hitting that they are not going to show us because they don't want us to know that there is a much larger earthquake about to hit. That's the bottom line. That really is the bottom line. They do not want us to see anything. Nothing. Okay? That's pretty bad. When our own agency does not want us to know something, they refuse to let us know. Okay? That's insane. That's completely insane. Now, what I'm going to show you now, folks, is a seismogram coming from Mount Baker. Mount Baker, as some of you might know from our previous broadcasts, is a volcano that's up in northern Washington, just south of the Canadian border. Okay? Look what we show here. Let me raise this up. Let me enlarge this so you can better see what we're showing you. Okay? Look at these individual lines, both the black and the red. Okay? Look at them closely. Look at these closely. These are steam signals at Mount Baker. This is Mount Baker, Maine seismogram. They're not showing us any tremors. They're not showing us any earthquakes at Mount Baker. It's as if they don't exist. Okay? Let me shorten this down so you can see the entire seismogram here. There you go, guys. They're not showing us anything there at Mount Baker. That's a fallacy. That is a huge fallacy. We can go over to Mount Baker Shuksan, as in this seismogram right here. Okay? This is Baker Shuksan. This is a ski resort where this seismograph is. Okay? This is a separate and distinct seismograph channel that is showing the magma inside the volcano moving. Magma, guys, causes what they call VLF waves. Magma coming into the volcano causes VLF waves, very low frequency waves, and that's what you're seeing here. You see very light waves up at the top of this seismogram, don't you? Very light. They get a little busier and then they get lighter again. But look at what happened this afternoon. Look at that very busy VLF wave signal here. There's a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber. And yet, the agency would have us believe that nothing is going on. They would have us think that there's absolutely nothing going on here. Okay? I'm showing you. I'm showing you everything here. Okay? That's the magma going into the volcano. One more. This is Mount Baker Shuksan, Maine seismogram. What's the difference? Ignore the top part of this seismogram. That's called abstract. That's all false information. But as we go down to the bottom of this, remember you seen the VLF seismogram there? Look at this. There most certainly was a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber today. Okay? This proves it. This proves it. Okay? On that main seismogram from Mount Baker, they are lying to us. Absolute lying to us. It doesn't show any of this when it should. Okay? It was all false information. Yes, when magma does come into the magma chamber, even at this volcano, it does cause the volcano to steam. And you should see a steam vapor cloud rising from the summit of this volcano. Yes, it is steaming. With this much magma coming in, and you can see the earthquakes here. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, that was Art Robinson calling from California, from Chino, California. I'll call him back. unless Art's here, and I will take the call and put him in on the program. Art, if you're hearing this program, go ahead and call again. I'll put you through. Art Robinson calling from Chino, California. I don't want to put anybody on without them knowing it ahead of time. I just don't do that. Hold on just a minute, guys. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here on the EMA channel, Art Robinson is here with us. We're going to talk about earthquakes here. We're talking about earthquakes right now in the Pacific Northwest area here. But Art, what do you have to say? What do you have to tell us?
Well, I just got to checking the USGS, and they had a report that there was a 6.4 nearby, 48 miles from me.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
I didn't think so because I didn't feel like no 6.4 here.
Yeah, well, we did have an earthquake that was up in Northern California that hit, but it was not near you. It was way up in Northern California. It came in as a 5.5 magnitude earthquake, and it's still.
Yeah, that's up at North Shore.
Yeah.
That's up Truckee.
Right. But I don't see anything around your place at all.
Yeah, we only had one real quick shake here, and it was a rolling shake. It felt like 3 waves within 10 seconds. So.
Really?
Yeah.
We have no confirmation of any of that right now as we speak.
Okay.
I will keep an eye open for it. If USGS does put it up, call back and let me know, and we'll put you on the air and let you talk about it. But you said you had a rolling shake over in Chino?
Yeah, here in Chico.
Or in Chico, yes. Yes, I don't see anything. We have a 0.7 microquake in Crescenta, Montrose, California. One further south and east over on the San Andreas Fault near Little Creek, Lytle Creek, California, 1.6. But that's just about all. And then we have an earthquake actually a tremor in Fountain Valley, California that happened earlier today, early this morning. So that's it.
Yeah, the alarm on my phone went off just as the quake hit my house.
Wow. It is possible.
They initially came out and said there was 2.8 up near Redding.
Yeah.
Right? And that they believed that was aftershock of the 5.4 in Nevada.
That might be.
So.
That might be.
That's where we're at here.
Well, I appreciate you letting us know. I really appreciate that.
God bless you.
All right. God bless, brother. Have a good day. Be safe. It's good to see you. Bye. Guys, that was Art Robinson from Chico, California. Okay. Art Robinson has been one of our friends and our member of our EMA family. He is former military, a Marine, and he's been around a long time. He and I go way back in the days of my being in San Diego. Just so you know, guys, now we've had multiple aftershocks, large swarm of aftershocks up there in East Shore, California. 3.0s, 2.8s, 2.6 near Prattville. And these are all in the water. Every one of these earthquakes is in the water. This 5.5, man, I wish I could just put this on. Let me see if I can do this. Okay? Let me pull these seismographs off. Let me do this. Hold it a second. I don't know why the USGS map wasn't coming up. It should now. Yes, it's coming up now. All right. Let's pull this earthquake up here. When I first saw this earthquake hit, I thought it was up near Lake Tahoe, but it's not. Okay? This is what that earthquake looks like now. Multiple aftershocks. Up here to the northwest, we have a 3.0 that is about half mile north-northeast of Prattville, California. Right next to it, we have a 2.8. And just on the north side of that, we have a 2.6. Then the main shock. Okay, this is still coming in as a 5.5 magnitude earthquake. Just to the northeast of there is a 2.5. Just on the bottom left-hand side of this 5.5, we see a 2.5 quake there. The red quakes that just are here that happen, they just happen. This is a 2.3 that I made in blue. This one just below that, south of there, is a 2.8. This one down here is also a 2.8. They say this is 3 kilometers, which is about 1.5 miles north-northwest of Canyon Dam, California. Canyon Dam, California. That's what it's showing. Okay? Now let me take a look and see if I can pull up some other information about that quake. All of a sudden we have 50 earthquakes up here. 50 earthquakes in California alone. 9 earthquakes here near this dam, near this lake here. Now, I want to show you this really quick. This is what it looks like on the EMSC map. That's what it looks like on the EMSC map. Pretty much the same as it looks on the USGS map. Okay? Okay, let's look at another. Let's look at it in another way here. Let's see. Okay, this is Lake Almanor. Lake Almanor. Almanor. Lake Almanor, California. Lake Almanor, California. This is how it looks. Canyon Dam is down here at the bottom of the lake there. That's a canyon dam. Okay? Just above that, we have Lake Almanor Country Club. Let me point these areas out. Right here is Lake Almanor Country Club. Just to the north of that is the Lake Almanor Peninsula here. Right up here, this is Lake Almanor Peninsula here. And over to the right top is Hamilton Branch. This is Hamilton Branch right here. Okay? So now you see what I see. Okay? Lake Almanor, California. Does anybody have any questions? The one whom Jesus loves says, I've never heard of it. I had heard of it, but I've never been there. I've never been even close to Lake Almanor. I've hiked the northern Sierras all the way up to Oregon, but I have not seen Lake Almanor before. But that's what's going on there. Any questions about that? Lake Almanor is a big lake, guys. Look at that. It's huge. We've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 aftershocks so far. That's so far. Texas lady is asking if this is a volcano. I don't think so. I have no information to say that. Roxy's telling Lamb she has to get out in the field more. LOL. I'm sorry, guys. I just crunched a water bottle. Doesn't take up as much space. Anyway, that's what's going on with this earthquake. This brings you right up to snuff with this earthquake. Okay? Does anybody else have any questions about it? Richard Dudley's asking, Lamb, you have to get out of the... Or no, I'm sorry. Richard Dudley's asking, will you look at Alabama earthquake? Okay. Let's go take a look at Alabama real quick. Okay, let's back out of Lake Almanor. They don't show an earthquake here in Alabama. They don't show anything here. We did have an earthquake here yesterday. I believe it was a 2.1 or something like that. It was just a minor earthquake. It was right, that earthquake was right here, okay? This is the southeastern base of the craton, the edge of the plate, edge of the North American plate. You can see where the Eastern Continental Divide is. It stretches from here and goes north. Okay, it goes north. It goes all the way up here to the north. The edge of the craton, the edge of the plate. Richard is saying they have an earthquake in North Payne, Alabama. I don't have it here. Richard, when did that earthquake hit? Aubrey is mentioning that the places that I've mentioned to all of you tonight where all those tremors and such hit, she's never heard those places before. Yes, it's up along the Washington and Oregon coast. Okay? We've mentioned these places many times in the past. Many, many times. Let me check out something here. Check my quakes here. And see if I have anything here not listed in Alabama. Richard, do you have anything on when that quake hit? Tomas S. is saying the Truth Mirage quake hit at 2000. Lake Alabama just southeast of Mount Lassen. Oh, Lake Almanor, yes. Yes, I know where that is, yeah. Okay, I'm just looking over at my list of quakes that has hit. No, I have no quakes listed in Alabama today. I'm looking as far back as last night at 10:30 p.m. last night. I don't have any quakes at all listed in Alabama. Richard Smith is going good night from Nova Scotia. Have a good night. I hope that fire is out now. I heard earlier that they had a good front on it. I'm hoping that fire's out up there in Nova Scotia. Have a good night, Richard. We appreciate you. No, I have nothing here in Alabama today at all. Just so you know, I have that earthquake East Shore, 5.5. We also have a moderate 4.5 in Chiapas, Mexico. Offshore from Chiapas, Mexico, we have a 4.6 that hit northeast of Taiwan today. A 4.6 off the northeast coast of Taiwan in the Ryukyu Islands. Another 4.7 in Myanmar. A 4.5 in Sichuan, China. 4.5s in Sichuan, China. 4.9 in that same location in China. Another 4.9, 5.0 in Venezuela. And by the way, guys, that earthquake I'm showing you right here in Venezuela, let's zoom in to see where this quake is. Look where that quake is, guys. Okay, see that red line there? See that red line going through the upper part, north part of Venezuela there? That is the Cayman Ridge. That is the Cayman Ridge. Okay? Now let me back out and show you this map here. Okay? That Cayman Ridge comes from over here in Guatemala here. Southern Guatemala. Then it goes into the Caribbean. Goes far into the Caribbean. You can see it stretching out here. Okay? Stretches all the way over here. Okay? Let me zoom in here to give you a better look at it. Okay? It goes out of here in the Caribbean from Guatemala. Then it makes an abrupt turn to the north, and then it continues eastward. It goes east, south of the Cayman Islands. It goes south of Jamaica there, skirting Cuba. Skirting Cuba. It continues east, north of Haiti, north of the Dominican Republic here, north of Puerto Rico where we have a bunch of earthquakes. All these earthquakes north of Puerto Rico here, those were dropped by the Cayman Ridge. Okay? This one here, a 3.7. This one here, a 3.5. A 3.8. This one here is a 4.3. A moderate 4.3. This is a 3.6, and this is a 3.8. These earthquakes here were dropped by the Cayman Ridge, the earthquake fault. These other earthquakes over here in southwestern Puerto Rico, those are aftershocks of an 8.0 and 8.4 that happened nearly 4 years ago, December 26 and December 28, 2019. Okay? Unreal. Those are aftershocks of those two major quakes. They continue hitting southwestern Puerto Rico. Over here, okay, these are northeast of Puerto Rico, and they're northwest of the U.S. Virgin Islands. This is a 3.9. This is a 3.5. This is the 3.7. After the Cayman Ridge passes the Virgin Islands, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, it starts heading south. It goes east of the Leeward Islands here, Martinique and that area. It continues east and south here. Look where it goes. Okay? Continues south past the Leeward Islands. Okay? Then once it gets up to northern Venezuela, it makes another abrupt turn and heads west, right smack dab into Venezuela. This earthquake in Venezuela, a 4.9, 5.0 earthquake. We've had earthquakes here before. We've had earthquakes in this bay here. Okay? In this bay right here, we've had two 5.5 earthquakes the same day about 1.5 years ago. Okay? That's what the Cayman Ridge does. It's an earthquake superhighway here. An earthquake superhighway. But getting back to the Pacific Northwest, okay? Up here in British Columbia, okay? This is a 1.4 magnitude tremor. Actually, this is Orcas Island, Washington. I didn't realize this was Orcas Island. Okay? This is a 1.4. Orcas Island. I thought Orcas Island was further south than this. That's Orcas Island, 21 kilometers north-northwest. Actually, it's 21 kilometers north-northwest of Orcas. So Orcas is further south. So I'm bad. This is in British Columbia, Canada. Not anywhere near Orcas Island. So again, USGS botches it. They drop the ball. This is actually in British Columbia. It's incredible how they can't get these locations right. They should not even have mentioned Orcas, Washington State. Orcas Island has nothing to do with Orcas Island. Further south, this quake right here, 2.6 near Hood Sport, Washington. 11 kilometers west-northwest of Hood Sport, Washington. 11 kilometers, just over 6.5 miles north-northwest of Hood Sport, Washington. Okay? That's what's going on here. Okay? Anyway, let's leave the USGS map. Let's get back to our seismograms here. Okay? We want to make sure that you understand where we're at here. Okay? So that is Shuxon, guys. This is Mount Baker. We showed you the VOF seismogram. It echoes this one. This is where all that magma is coming into the magma chamber. And you see the associated tremors here. Okay? That blue blob at the bottom here. That blue blob at the bottom. Yes, that, folks, is an earthquake caused by magma. Anytime you have a lot of magma, you're going to see earthquakes and tremors. And that's what you see here as well. These vertical lines, whether they're red or not, those are earthquakes. Those are earthquakes. Even this over on the left-hand side at the bottom in the black. A large amount of magma, and these vertical lines in it on the left are tremors and earthquakes that are hitting. Okay? So that's what's happening up at the border at Mount Baker, just south of the US-Canadian border at Mount Baker. Now, there's a lot more here than that. I want to show you Glacier Peak. That's our next stop. Glacier Peak doesn't show much of anything going on, which is a sad thing. Okay? It really doesn't show much of anything. Now, I have nothing to substantiate this except knowing that all these volcanoes are active, knowing that there has been steam exiting Glacier Peak volcano. This is north of Rainier, okay? North of Rainier in the mountains. All we have here are a couple quakes here. Actually one. This long blue line. You notice that long blue line has a dot in it. That's an earthquake, okay? But I checked all the seismograms, okay? I checked everything. This is the only earthquake here at Mount Glacier Peak, or Glacier Peak volcano, okay? This looks and appears to be at least a 3.0 earthquake, okay? They did not list this on the USGS map, as if, oh, we can have a 3.0 earthquake, we don't have to talk about it. Over on the right-hand side in red, folks, that should be a magma churn signal. However, what do we see here? I enlarge this to see. It's not a normal sideways rectangle of color. It's not a normal rectangle of color. This is steam. Every one of these individual lines are steam lines. Steam signals. Glacier Peak is steaming. Very much steaming, guys. Just so you know. Just another volcano steaming off. Okay? Let's continue on. Let's go over now, and I want to show you Mount Rainier. Okay? I want to show you Mount Rainier. I want to show you the biggest amount of activity at Mount Rainier. This, folks, is Camp Muir. This is on the south rim of the volcano, Camp Muir. Look at all these tremors and earthquakes. Okay? Mount Rainier is active as all get out. Look at all this. Look at all this. This is incredible. Lamazalite is asking us about Israel. Yes, there have been earthquakes over in Israel. This air deal is just miserably, and it's hot too, or I'm hot. I feel hot. Anyway, guys, look at this. Mount Rainier is more busy than I have ever seen it. Okay? We even have a blob of magma here this afternoon. This appears to be a 2.0 earthquake. It could have been larger. We don't have any kind of magma churn signal here to be able to tell if the seismograph has been turned off, or not turned off, but turned down. But I believe it's been turned down. Okay? Look what we have here. Tons and tons of tremors and earthquakes. Mount Rainier. Let's drop, well, there's one other thing I want to show you from Mount Rainier. Emerald Ridge. Okay? I don't know what's going on here. Well, I was going to show you a spectrogram from Mount Rainier, but it's not coming up. That's weird. That's weird. But anyway, just to describe the spectrogram shows heat coming from the magma towards the surface of the volcano. The spectrogram looks like there's heat that has risen to the surface in several places. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different places. The bottom of the spectrogram usually shows the most heat, but the heat rises, as we all know. And in this particular spectrogram, guess what? Heat does rise. And we're seeing it right here. We're seeing it right here. Let's go over to Mount St. Helens. Okay? I want to show you two seismograms coming from Mount St. Helens. This one, folks, is a very interesting one. Okay? Look at everything happening here. This is Mount St. Helens Sugar Bowl. Mount St. Helens Sugar Bowl. Look at all the earthquakes and tremors happening here, guys. Look at this. That's huge. 2.0s, 2.2s, maybe 2.3 magnitude earthquakes. Every one of these. Look over on the far left side. Okay? That quake happened at just before 11:45. 11:44 over on the right hand side. Okay, look at that. This is a rather thick quake. This only means thick quake, I'm saying it lasted, the shaking lasted for more than like 20-30 seconds. Okay, and it appears over on the left hand side too. And we have one of those triangles going off to the right. That is a secondary wave of seismic energy. The big part of that earthquake are primary waves. You can see them all through this seismogram. 2.2, 2.1 magnitude earthquakes. Look at that. This one down here happened after 3:30 this afternoon. 3:30 this afternoon. This, folks, lasted, the primary waves lasted a full minute. Look how thick that earthquake is. The primary waves last a full minute, but look at how long that secondary wave lasted. Okay? It lasted over a minute. That triangle spits out over a minute and a half, maybe. Okay? I would think that this would show a large earthquake. Folks, this seismograph has been turned way down. To have a secondary wave last that long, this had to have been at least a 4.5 magnitude earthquake. So this seismograph has been turned way, way down. Okay? Probably a 4.5 magnitude earthquake hitting Mount Rainier today, this afternoon. Look at all these earthquakes hitting Mount Rainier. This is huge. This is huge. Okay? The Pacific Northwest is big. If that was a 4.5 earthquake at Mount Rainier, all we need is one more. All we need is one more to be a good signal, and one more in the next day or so to be a good signal that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is not far away. Okay? I believe that was much larger than what they're showing here on the seismograph. Okay? Let's drop down now to Mount Hood. Mount Hood is very active, guys. Very, very active. Look at this. Okay? Up at the top, we don't see a whole lot of magma. We see some magma coming into the magma chamber. We definitely see pulsed magma signals. Pulsed, meaning P-U-L-S-E-D, pulsed magma signals here, which the magma starts off thin and gets thicker and then gets thinner again. That's called pulsed magma. Pulsed magma. And that's what we're seeing here. A lot of it. Now this seismogram was definitely turned down. Okay? You see it almost showing nothing early this morning. Okay? What I think is happening is the signals coming from the magma at the volcano are strong enough to be working through the electronics of the seismograph. That's what I believe is happening. Then this afternoon, they turned the seismograph up. They turned the seismograph up at Mount Hood. Look at all this magma here. That's an awful lot of magma coming into Mount Hood this afternoon and this evening. This is huge. This is huge. Okay? We should have seen more and more earthquakes and tremors at Mount Hood on the USGS map. This is a USGS seismogram. So it would only stand to reason that they should have shown us more earthquakes at Mount Hood and at Mount St. Helens, but they're not. They're not showing it. Okay? I'm only going to show you a handful more seismograms, and I'll complete showing you this tomorrow night, because I have earthquakes here in California at volcanoes. I have a volcano in Northern California that's steaming like none other. Okay? We're going to show you that tomorrow night too. I want to show you one more. Okay? I just got through showing you Hood Timberline. That's at the seismograph is at government camp. Timberline. Timberline at Mount Hood. The next one I'm going to show you, folks, is Sisters Volcano. Sisters Volcano is south of Newberry Crater. Newberry Volcano. South of Bachelor Volcano. Sisters Volcano is very interesting. Okay? It's very interesting. About a year ago, USGS thought that this volcano was going to erupt. Sisters volcanoes. There are 3 volcanoes here. Sisters North, Sisters South, and Sisters Central. 3 separate volcanoes here. they have one seismograph monitoring all three. Okay? Sorry, I'm trying to get something out of my eye. Okay. Look what's happening here. Look at all that magma that came into the volcano last night and early this morning. That's an awful lot of magma. Then they've got this seismograph turned way down. Again, why do we know that? Because the signals from the magma are very thin, not hardly breaking the surface or breaking the electronic silence. Yes, we see a little bit of signal coming through the silence of the the seismograph. Then they turn the seismograph back up a little bit. We see two blips of magma here. Two small blips of magma here. We also see some vertical lines in the middle of those blips. Those are tremors happening because the magma has fractured rock inside the volcano, causing those fracturing signals. Okay? Tremors, earth movement. Then, later this afternoon, all heck broke loose. We got more magma here. A ton of magma coming into this volcano this afternoon and this evening. And it may still be coming in. It may still be coming in. Let's make one last stop here in Oregon. Mount Hood, Sisters Volcanoes, and Crater Lake are in Oregon. They are in Oregon. I'm going to show you one more attempt at a seismograph. This should be showing you seismic activity at Crater Lake in south central Oregon. There is a volcano called Crater Lake. It's an alpine lake at the top of the volcano. It's a high alpine lake. Guess what? They're not showing anything here. This seismograph has been turned off. Nothing's showing here at all. There are 4 seismographs at Crater Lake. One of them is on Wizard Island. They even turned Wizard Island off. All 4 seismographs are off, turned off. I've never seen this happen before. Yes, they showed abstract, false information on seismographs before, here at Crater Lake and other places. But here, they've turned all 4 seismographs off. This is unprecedented. This should never be happening at such an active volcano as Crater Lake. That means they're not monitoring it. They're not showing anything at all. Not 1 hour, not 1 minute of seismic activity at Crater Lake. This is wrong. This is inherently wrong. This should never happen. Do I have any questions about any of the tremors or earthquakes or tremors around the volcanoes or the slow slip involving Washington or Oregon? Any questions about anything in California, including that 5.5 large quake near East Shores, California? Almanor Lake, California. Okay? Apparently you guys are talking about the illegal border crossings. That's not going to stop. This president that's in office right now, whether he be legal or illegal, okay? I'm not even going to get into that discussion. But under that president, JB, nothing's being done. Not a thing. When senators and congressmen and other aides even bring it up, he doesn't want to discuss anything to stem illegal immigration, unlawful immigration, undocumented immigration. I probably shouldn't even be saying illegal. They are. They are by all accounts of law. They're illegal. They shouldn't be here. They should still be in their own countries. But they're being allowed to come because this man in Washington does not want to stop it. He wants to pad the balance. And I shouldn't have even said that. He wants to make sure that the Democratic Party, the Communist Democratic Party of America, will vote for Democrats in the near future, and even long distance future. JB is not popular. He's only got right now less than 36% of the vote. The percentages are bad. Okay? The front runner is Mr. T. Mr. T. DeSantis, a lot less. There's no candidate right now that's been announced that has any percentage rates more than 1%. Okay? Jamie Wilkie's asking, what do I think, or when do I think we may get the big Cascadia megathrust earthquake in Washington, Oregon, and California? It's not just going to be a Washington quake. Yes, it will happen off of the coast of Seattle, Washington, either on or about the Cascadia subduction zone, or it will happen over around the Juan de Fuca plate, the Juan de Fuca fault. Okay, let me bring up the craton here, for the Cascadia map here. Oh crap. Okay, I've got another way to do this. I can find it. I can find it, said the blind mouse. Okay, just a second. Just a second. I'll find a good slide to show you here, showing you exactly what's going on. Okay, let's see, was that? Just a second, guys. I'm just trying to find a slide that's going to show what I'm trying to show you here. And I know I've got them. I've got a ton of earthquake information, almost about any kind of subject that you would want me to talk about. Literally. Literally. Oh, let's see here. I've shown you guys all kinds of information over the last 4 years. I've got so much here it's not even funny. It's quite outstanding, actually. It's almost crazy. Right here. This was a slide that I was looking for. Let me enlarge this for you so you can see it. Okay? Now I over enlarged it here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You see where Seattle is here? You see the Puget Sound area? The Cascadia megathrust earthquake is probably going to happen right near shore at the Cascadia subduction zone. Okay? If not, it will happen further out. You see that jagged white line there? That's called the Juan de Fuca Fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault. Now, that is where we believe that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to happen. Offshore from Seattle, Washington. Now, with that said, let me back this thing back up and make it a little smaller. Okay? You see a line running up and down the coast here. All the way down here to the south, where it comes in contact with the Gorda Escarpment. That line running close to the coast is called the the Cascadia subduction zone. It's an earthquake fault. Okay? Now, the Juan de Fuca Fault that's further out, further west into the Pacific. This is a major fault line. We believe that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake happened out here originally 232 years ago. 223 years ago. Okay? It's happened. There's all kinds of scientific evidence to prove this. They think it's going to happen in the same place. There was some speculation a couple of years ago, that it might happen further south, where the Juan de Fuca Fault, the Cascadia subduction zone meets up with the Gorda Escarpment and the San Andreas Fault. That, in that case, would be a major deal. Okay? The seismic energy then would cover from way down there south, and it would be very destructive because it would be right closer to shore. Offshore a little bit, even if it's out off ashore from Washington State, Seattle's still going to get whacked. Okay? If it goes out to Juan de Fuca, it's still going to get whacked. And the farther out it is, the greater chance it is for a very much larger tsunami wave. A very much larger tsunami wave. We're talking anywhere from 50 feet high to 150 feet high. It's going to slam into Canada, Washington State, Oregon, and California. The seismic energy is going to go all the way down in through California because it's going to trigger the San Andreas Fault. So that seismic energy is going to continue south on the San Andreas, triggering San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, and even point south into northern Mexico. We talked about this before. That earthquake could also trigger seismic energy in Alaska. It's going to go north along the fault and south all the way down into northern Mexico. A huge earthquake. Huge earthquake. A major, major earthquake. A 9.0 to a 10.0 magnitude earthquake. Do we know when it's going to hit? No. I believe it's going to happen sometime in the next 5 years. That's my estimate only. Some scientists have said 20 to 25 years. Some scientists are now saying even sooner than that. Because, folks, out towards the Juan de Fuca Fault, there is a water spring coming from the ocean floor, bubbling up through the ocean floor. And they believe that that spring is also releasing oils and grease that's down there holding those faults together. Okay? There's organic material, all kinds of organic material down there. Plant biologicals, dirt, grime, rocks, sand, gravel, holding those faults together. What happens when those faults heat up? I.e. CMEs, planetary alignments producing electromagnetic energy, electromagnetic radiation, coming to the Earth's crust, heating up the faults, causing all of that grime and dirt and biological material to turn into a greasy-like substance, making it easier for that plate to move, that earthquake to happen. Scientists think that that spring they discovered off the coast of Oregon may release that earthquake very, very soon. There was a big deal about that 2 weeks ago. It made the papers, it made magazines, it made this program. We talked about it then. The Cascadia subduction zone earthquake will be huge. It will ring bells on the East Coast after it happens. The entire North American plate, Canada, the United States, and parts of Mexico will feel it. And it will shake the entire countries. It'll shake everything. That's a fact. It's going to be a big deal. Any other questions? Wolfman says, I feel like I'm worth the truth. Yes, you are. All of you are very much worth the truth. That's why this channel's here. I want to make sure that this information gets out. This is vital. This is vital information. If you don't have it, who else will? That's how I see it. If you don't have this information, who else will? Okay? And that bothers me. It bothers me to no end, knowing that some of this information won't get out to people because nobody's sharing it, or very few people will be sharing it. That's pretty bad. I want to make sure as many people as possible get this information. That's how I feel. I feel very strongly about that. Very, very, very strongly. Okay? I'm concerned about people's lives. I very much want people to survive. And that's where I'm at. This will not be an easy thing. Whenever you have people's lives that hang in the balance, it's not an easy deal. It never has been. Okay? It never has been. Michael McKinney's asking, what will be the consequences of that, besides all the death and destruction? Whenever you have a earthquake of that magnitude, not only is it going to destroy a lot of stuff, the planet will be changed forever. It'll be major plate movement. Not just here on the East Coast or the West Coast, but across the world. Major plate movement all around the world. It will be felt everywhere. It will make all the seismographs around the world. It will be largely felt just here in North America. Could be felt around the world. Major earth movement like this. Look what's happening in Turkey today. They've been having anywhere from 50 to over 150 earthquakes every day in Turkey. Why? Because they had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake, regardless of what USGS says. A simple 7.8 magnitude earthquake that USGS said that was in Turkey does not cause a huge fissure to open up in the earth. Huge. 18 stories deep and a football field wide for 12 miles. I think it's actually over 12 miles. A major earthquake would. This was much larger than a 7.8 in Turkey. I gave you all the stats for that after that earthquake hit months ago. It's still shaking. Aftershocks. Hundreds of them. Every day. In Turkey and Syria. Some of those aftershocks going south all the way into Israel, all the way into Egypt, all the way down that area. Tons of earthquakes. Every day. Every day. It's not likely to stop. Not for a very long time. Not for a very, very, very long time. Okay? Michael McKinney says, I guess I should prepare for some rough sailing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And by the way, remember that tsunami I told you about? That'll hit the west coast of the U.S.? Anchorage all the way from Alaska down south to the Mexican border area? Guess what happened 223 years ago? That earthquake also generated a tsunami that reached Japan. Japan keeps immaculate records. That's how we know almost a date and time that earthquake hit. That's why scientists are giving us that information today. It's a big deal. It's a great big deal. I hope everyone is taking notes, because it's going to affect everybody. By the way, guys, just so you'll know, today down in Los Angeles, northwest of Los Angeles, remember the Baldwin Hills? Remember the Baldwin Hills? The great big huge area to the northwest of Los Angeles? Guess what, guys? If you haven't already figured what I'm going, or heard what I'm going to tell you, guess what happened down there in the Baldwin Hills today? Can anybody guess? I know Rob knows because we talked about it. Rob and I talked about 4 o'clock today. About 4:15. Big talk, wonderful talk. He and I talk quite a bit. Folks, Baldwin Hills is just northwest from Los Angeles. Let me see if I can bring it up here. If I can find it here. Sometimes I'm pretty lucky with this thing. I'm too far south. This is Fountain Valley, California. So Los Angeles is right in here, okay? This is LA. This is Los Angeles. No, it's not that far. No, this is LAX there. Anyway, over in the Baldwin Hills, guys, the Baldwin Hills is a huge, no, the Baldwin brothers didn't do anything stupid again. The Baldwin Hills, folks, is an oil and gas farm, okay? There were a bunch of hills in Los Angeles called the Baldwin Hills. And back in the 30s or 40s last century, they bulldozed those hills into a huge flat area. And they put oil and gas pumps and jacks all over those hills. Well, guess what? There was a 1.8 earthquake that hit the Baldwin Hills today. A 1.8 magnitude earthquake that hit the Baldwin Hills today. Let me see if I can bring it up on my device here. Just a second. They issued an Amber Alert here in North Carolina for a missing girl, not in my county, but in fact nowhere near my area. But they issued an Amber Alert nonetheless. And that's important. It's important to understand what's going on in your neck of the woods. Not that area. I am pretty close to it here. Just a second. I should never have this problem finding the Baldwin Hills. I usually stumbled onto it pretty easily. Here it is. Just a sec, let me get off this map here. Okay, I found it right here. This is what it looks like. There are oil pumps and jacks all over the Baldwin Hills area. Okay? Oil and gas fracking operations all throughout this area. It's a huge area here. I forgot how many acres it encompasses, but it's huge. And the thing is, guys, just on the outskirts of the Baldwin Hills, we have we have residences, houses, thousands and thousands of houses north, east, and south of the Baldwin Hills. So what happens? What happens with the Baldwin Hills? There was a 1.8 tremor out there today. That's a very light seismic event. We've had 4.5 earthquakes at the Baldwin Hills, in the oil fields of the Baldwin Hills. Folks, if you watched the movie LA Earthquake, Los Angeles Earthquake, it was made back in 1984. They incorporated the Baldwin Hills oil reservation in that movie. They said that the plot for the whole thing was oil pressure had been reduced in the oil wells of the Baldwin Hills area. Oil pressure reduction is a sign of a pending earthquake. And together, there are a bunch of plots that bring this earthquake to happen, to take place in the movie. That's just one spot. And you can actually see the pumps and jacks working in the movie. Okay? Baldwin Hills. We know for a fact what's happening in Los Angeles, San Diego, Imperial Valley. Still getting hit with earthquakes and tremors. We have a distinct increase in seismic events happening up in northeast San Diego County. Okay? That whole area, the Anza Gap, the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park up there. A ton of earthquakes and tremors all over that area, and it's increasing. There's going to be a bigger earthquake there, and there's also going to be a major earthquake hitting Southern California. Do I know when? No. I wish I did. But it's coming. It's coming. Okay? It's coming. Now I'm going to go back here and scroll through the chat room here and see if you guys have any more questions, okay? Rob is talking about a 1.5 quarry blast around Home Gardens. Guys, Home Gardens was one of the areas that was very near Glen Avon. Glen Avon Home Gardens area had tons of earthquakes prior to the Ridgecrest earthquake happening. Thousands of earthquakes stretching from North San Diego County at the ends of Borrego Desert area all the way north of Ridgecrest, upwards of Olancha, California, in that area. Thousands and thousands of earthquakes. Thousands and thousands of earthquakes. And we're starting to see more and more earthquakes now. A bunch of earthquakes there. It's happening. Okay? Okay. Any other earthquakes here? Michael's asking about the San Fernando Valley. San Fernando Valley is going to shake. If you didn't already know, there has been seismic events going down there. Why? Because, folks, they have pumped oil and gas out from underneath the San Fernando Valley, and it's sinking. It's sinking. The whole entire San Fernando Valley is sinking. It's called subsidence. It's sinking. It's sinking to fill the hole beneath it. They did not pump water or anything else into that hole when they were pumping out oil and gas. And as a result, the San Fernando Valley is actually gradually sinking. And yes, there's going to be earthquakes there. Sage Pup says, Ron, do you think a large fissure could be causing the issue in Tonga? No. No, that's a plate issue. There's 7 different plates right now acting in the South Pacific. from Samoa and Tonga all the way west to Thailand. 7 different plates, one subducting under the other. That is why we have earthquakes in Tonga, Samoa, down in New Zealand, over in Australia. 2 days ago in Australia, and I failed to show you this because there were other things, so many other things to talk about, there were 2.6 magnitude earthquakes in southeastern Australia. 2.6 magnitude earthquakes in southeastern Australia. Unreal. Unreal. But folks, that whole area is shaking because of earthquakes. Why? All those plates are moving, one under the other there in the South Pacific. It's no wonder we have earthquakes up in the northern part of the Pacific Plate. It's no wonder. Aubrey's talking about a sinkhole where she lives because they had so much snow and water and it melted and causing sinkholes. Absolutely does. It does. It's crazy. Any other questions? Because I'm about to close out for tonight. I'm about just to close out things tonight. We've been here longer than 2 hours, and I really don't want to go any longer than that. I appreciate you're all supporting us. We've had 157 thumbs up. Please, if you have not already given us a thumbs up, please do so before you leave tonight. Also, make sure you, like I said, share this program far and wide. We've given you a lot of information tonight. I understand that. And now we're pushing 3 hours again. I didn't want to go that long. But we have had a lot of information to put out tonight. I want you to share this far and wide. It really does. Also, ask people to subscribe to our program. Get them interested and have them subscribe to our program. The more subscribers we have, the better chance we have of making sure this information gets out. And it's very, very important. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I really do. Each one of you are my family members. Brothers and sisters in Christ, brothers and sisters in family. We share the same values and everything. We love each other and take care of each other. We have each other's backs. That's what's important. Now, folks, I want to leave you with a thought. We talk a lot about negative things, about what's going on at the border. It's bad. I want to leave you with something else that I think that's very important. I want to take you over to chapter 2 in Ephesians in the New Testament. Chapter 2, verses 19 and 20. Now therefore, ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints, and of the household of God, and are built upon the foundation of apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone. Christ organized his church with apostles and prophets. He is still the chief cornerstone of his church. Folks, I love Jesus Christ. I know his gospel is true. I love him. I worship him and our Heavenly Father. I thank heavens that I was brought to this earth at a time to see everything else that's happening. All of us, we were purposely sent here on a mission to be here at this point in time in history, because we are his saints. We are his servants here on this earth to make sure his plan is brought forth. I ask the Lord to bless each and every one of us as we close this program. let's make sure that we are prepared. Prepared physically and spiritually to be able to go through what we're going to have to face. And it's just started. It just started. May God bless us all to be able to handle it and to be positive, to help our fellow man, to help our families, and to help each other. May God bless you this day and always. May God be with you until we meet again. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a good night, folks. We will see you tomorrow night. Same bat station. Take care, everybody. I love you very much. Good night. Oh, that's weird.